Heads up. This episode's going to have a lot of me trying to get my tongue around the Sheepsquatch shard, Sheepsquatch Staff, Sheepsquatch. Blech. It's going to be tricky. So, welcome back. I'm Hyper Knight G, and in this short series we are talking about weapons related to the Sheepsquatch, a cryptid added to Fallout 76 and the expansion Wild Appalachia. Yeah, get a look into the cold dead eyes of this thing. Today, we're specifically talking about weapons you can craft using loot from the Sheepsquatch itself. And this, in particular, this horned, skulled stick of doom, this is the Sheepsquatch Staff. I've assembled it and its many variants here for you. I had to space them out a bit further because I really don't want you to lose any of the detail in this thing. But man, what are we getting into here? Alright, let's try crafting one first. Again, all of these can only be crafted with the plans that you can receive as rewards for the event Free Range. So, be prepared to run this event a lot if you would like a Sheepsquatch Staff of your own. As before, you're going to need Makeshift Warrior rank 4 to create this, and you can make a level 10 version. You'll need 6 adhesive, 22 steel, 12 wood, and you'll need 2 large Sheepsquatch horns. Be prepared, usually you only get 1 horn from a dead Sheepsquatch. You can adjust the level here. At level 10, the damage is 86, and it goes up steadily until you get 184 damage off of a level 50 staff, which, yeah, an extra 98 damage on top of the 86 that you started with, and now you're at 184. That's not bad. And for a two-handed melee weapon, 184 is respectable. It's not in Tenderizer or Warglaive range, but it's not bad. But then let's modify it. So we come down to the Sheepsquatch Staff, which I'll bring it in a little bit for you to take a closer look. It's got a handle on the back. It's got the skull of the Sheepsquatch itself involved there, the horns on the top, and they have spikes coming out of them. Like, it's actually a pretty impressive looking weapon, if we're being totally honest about it. It just is. Don't know how effective it's going to be, but it's definitely impressive. Anyway, this Sheepsquatch Staff is only level 10, so I'm going to have to make a new one. And that's fine. I'll swap back to crafting, go back to blunt melee weapons, come down to the staff, go up to level 50, where I'll need 12 adhesive, 31 steel, 21 wood, and 2 horns. Okay, now I've made it. And you can tell when you go in and look, I actually made 2. I had Super Duper on, and it made 2 of them for me. Well, good enough. We'll take this one, the 184 damage, and we'll mod it. We have 6 mods available, and, Swarm of Suitors is starting. We're not going there. We have 6 different mods, and these will be the same mods for both the Sheepsquatch Staff and the Sheepsquatch Club. We'll talk about them now. The Barbed Sheepsquatch Staff basically covers the staff with a bunch of nails. You're adding adhesive, copper, and steel. You are going to make your targets bleed this way, and you do get better damage, from 184 to 205. 21 damage improvement, and now they bleed. That's not bad. I'm going to skip the next one and go down to the Burning Staff. Starts with 184. You're adding energy damage because of the power pack on the back. Right there, next to the handle. Sorry, this one. There you go. There's the power pack. It basically sets the thing on fire and adds energy damage. There's also a visual glitch where any burning Sheepsquatch equipment will not be inspectable after a while. But we can still look at the numbers. 184 plus 16 energy damage, which again, 184 is the base. So now we're doing 200, and it doesn't actually set opponents on fire. It's just the staff itself is on fire. But what if you could do both? Behold the burning barbed Sheepsquatch Staff, covered in spikes and also on fire, and also doesn't allow you to inspect it when you're looking in the game. Don't worry, we'll look at the one on the wall in a minute. This one, we still get targets bleeding, as we did with the barb, but we also add the energy damage from the burn. So now, we've got the 205 from barbing it, we've got the 16 from burning it, so now we've got a total of 221 damage. Now we're in Tenderizer level. Now we're looking at all rise. This is a thing. This is doable. But let's take a look at our other options before we lock in on the burning barbed Sheepsquatch Staff. Components at this point are really negligible. Barbing it's adhesive copper and steel, burning it adhesive copper, circuitry, and asbestos, and putting them together makes you put them together. No big deal. Looking at the electrified staff, you'll notice this one has the power pack down on the bottom, runs up the length of the staff, and adds some wiring to the skull. You're now doing 32 electrical damage on top of the base 184. Components are pretty common stuff. This is not bad. And you're now at 216. Compared to the 221 of the burning barb, it's not great, but it's still very respectable. But what if you just want to clobber something? Behold the heavy Sheepsquatch Staff. It looks like you slapped a barbell on it. Because you basically did. You added adhesive, concrete, lead, and steel. You're now swinging a barbell at somebody's head through the power of a sheep-based stick. Total damage here is 191, which is not great, but you are clobbering your opponent. And of course, let's poison it. Base damage 184, 1 point of poison damage. You kind of know what you're getting here with poison. So let's go ahead. I'll use the last of my limited asbestos to turn this staff into a burning barbed version. And let's see what it looks like when I actually wield the thing. There it is. So I equip it. And yeah, it's actually kind of hard to see. So let's move the camera out because there, that's the better view. You can definitely see the flame burning through the horns. You can definitely see all the spikes. Thank you for standing still. You can see the flames coming out of the nozzles on the staff itself, or the single nozzle. The pack on the back. Yeah, this is not bad. I mean, and it's sure to terrify literally anyone that you come across in a forest on a dark night when they see, you know, a burning two-skulled head on the end of the stick you're swinging at them. But let's take a look at them on the board. This makes it a bit easier to see. This one you can probably guess is the electrical version. And I'm going to go ahead and take this one off so that we can put it up. All right. Funny enough, this one alphabetically, even though Burning Barbed is in the name, it still gets sorted with the Sheepsquatch Staff. Don't know why. Just heads up. All right. The electrical one, I can hear the cowbell, and I hear kind of a bzzz, but that's about it. No crackling, nothing like you would expect. In fact, it's just as dark as any other Sheepsquatch Staff. Wait a minute, that's the crook. Let's try again. Here's the staff. Ah! You begin to see the difference. Now, that's what we're talking about. Where the crook is a disappointment, electrifying the Sheepsquatch Staff, ho ho ho. That brightens up the whole room, but weirdly doesn't break your stealth. I don't know why, just don't question it. And there is still a slight crackle, but it's so quiet, you may not even notice it. All right, let's put that up for a second. Here's your poisoned version. And this one's the most unsettling to me because it really looks like you just slapped some raw meat on it. Also, I don't need the eyes back in place. That's horrible. Thank you. Don't ever do that again. Here's the heavy version, and I was only kind of kidding about the barbell. It very much looks like a barbell. That's pretty much it. Now I've put these last three next to each other so that you can compare. This is the barbed version, and you can see the barbed wire wrapped around the skull. Less spiky than you might expect, but barbed wire. Here's the burning version. You can see the pack on the back, the nozzle I mentioned earlier. There's actually kind of a bit of frozen coloration there from where the propane will shoot out. And instead of eyes, it has sort of robot antennas. And what do you get when you add them together? Well, you take the burning version and you wrap barbed wire around it. And there you go. If we're looking at it from a what am I going to make version, well, realistically, I don't see how you have an option but to use the burning barb version, which now mysteriously has jumped up in the list. Not sure why, but here it is. If it's doing 216 damage, the electrified is doing 2112 or 212. 212. There you go. We can talk. 212 versus 216. Burning barb still leads. Barb's only 200. Burning's only 196. Heavy's 187. Poison 182. I mean, 212 versus 216. Yeah. And the burning barbed one makes your targets bleed. So really, that's kind of the way to go. I mean, you have some other options, but that really is your best choice. Anyway, that's going to be it for Sheepsquatch staffs. I kind of recommend trying one if you get one. And once you can make them, you can get a legendary version. I don't have one yet, but, you know, that's what it would be if you could, but I can't, so yeah. I do have some clubs, and we're going to talk about the clubs in our next video. The Sheepsquatch Club, well, we'll get to them in just a bit. All right. Goodbye, everybody.